What if I told you one ordinary mistake silently shut down an entire system? Not with explosions. Not with gunfire. Not with hackers smashing keyboards. But with something so small no one noticed it at first. This is not fiction. This is not a theory. This actually happened, and for hours. Millions of people had no idea how close everything came to total collapse. It was a normal day. Phones were ringing, computers were running, airports were operating, hospitals were working, banks were open. Nothing felt wrong, but behind the scenes, something had already gone terribly wrong. Modern society depends on systems. Invisible systems. Networks. Software. Automated controls. We trust them completely, because we are told they are safe, redundant, fail-proof. But this story proves something frightening. Sometimes, the biggest disasters don't come from attacks. They come from mistakes. This story begins inside a control room. Not a military base. Not a nuclear facility. A control center responsible for managing a critical part of modern infrastructure. A place where decisions made in seconds can affect entire regions. The people working there were not villains. They were not careless. They were not evil. They were professionals, trained, experienced, doing their jobs like they had done hundreds of times before. That day, a routine update was scheduled. Nothing special. Just a small change to improve performance. A few lines of code. A configuration adjustment. The kind of task that rarely causes problems. But this time, something was different. One setting was entered incorrectly. One value was misunderstood. One assumption was wrong. And that was enough. At first, nothing happened. No alarms. No warnings. No flashing lights. The system accepted the change, which made it even more dangerous. Minutes passed. Then something subtle changed. Data slowed. Responses delayed. Connections hesitated. Operators noticed lag but assumed it was temporary. Systems are slow sometimes. That's normal. Or so they thought. Then phones started ringing. One call. Then another. Small complaints. Something isn't loading. Our system froze. Connections dropped. Nothing dramatic. Yet, behind the scenes, the system was unraveling. One component failed. Then another. Not violently, silently. Like dominoes falling in slow motion. Automated processes began shutting themselves down. Safety protocols activated, but they were designed to stop damage, not prevent it. So instead of saving the system, they froze it. Suddenly, entire services stopped responding. Airports lost access to critical systems. Financial networks stalled. Emergency services faced delays. Still, the public didn't know. There were no headlines. Yet, inside the control room, panic started to rise. Engineers checked logs. Nothing obvious. No attack. No breach. No virus. Just failure. They tried rolling back the update. It didn't work. They tried isolating components. It didn't work. The system had already locked itself into a failure state. Time was slipping away. Every minute mattered. Because this system was not just convenient. It was essential. Lives depended on it. In some places, backup systems activated. In others, there were none. Hospitals switched to manual procedures. Air traffic controllers slowed operations. Banks halted transactions. The modern world was suddenly fragile. And here's the terrifying part. No one knew how far the failure would spread. Because this system was interconnected, one region depended on another. One failure could trigger another. Engineers worked without rest. No sleep. No breaks. Pressure was immense. Because if they failed, they wouldn't just lose their jobs. They would be blamed for something historic. Slowly, they traced the problem, not to a hacker, not to an enemy, not to sabotage, but to a single configuration error. One mistake, made by a human. Fixing it was not simple. The system was too large, too complex. Changes had to be applied carefully, or the recovery could make things worse. Hours passed. News outlets began reporting outages. People were confused. Rumors spread. Was this an attack? Was it terrorism? Was it war? Authorities stayed silent, because they didn't know either. Finally, piece by piece, the system began to recover. Connections restored. Services resumed, slowly, carefully. By the time everything stabilized, the damage was already done. Millions affected. Massive financial losses. Public trust shaken. Yet most people never learned the real reason. Official statements were vague. Technical issues. Unexpected failure. Systems restored. No mention of the real cause. Because the truth was uncomfortable. The truth was this: a system designed to be secure, resilient, and reliable was brought down by a simple human mistake. Years later, details quietly emerged. Reports, interviews, documents, and historians realized this incident changed everything. It forced industries to redesign systems, to add safeguards, to question blind trust in automation. Because machines follow instructions, they do not question. They do not doubt. They do not feel that something is wrong. Only humans do. And here comes the part most people don't know. The person responsible was not fired publicly, not jailed, not exposed. Because blaming one individual would raise a bigger question. If one mistake can cause this much damage, how safe are we really? Only near the end of the story does history reveal the name. Not as a villain, but as a reminder, a warning. This incident is now studied in engineering schools, in cybersecurity, in system design, as proof that complexity is both power and weakness. And the event itself, it became a turning point in how modern infrastructure is built. The mistake, it happened during a major real-world outage that reshaped trust in automated systems. The system, a critical internet backbone operation that briefly disrupted large parts of the digital world. And the incident, known today as one of the most important accidental failures in modern history. Only now, at the end, does the name appear. Not because it matters who made the mistake, but because it matters that a human did. The name associated with this incident was never meant to be famous. Yet history remembers it, because sometimes, the most dangerous events are not caused by evil intentions, but by ordinary humans working inside extraordinary systems. And that is the real lesson.